This is the CAM Fusion lesson demo number 4, and we are going to cover how to make this part using CAM in Fusion. Specifically, we're going to talk about drilling, boring, and internal threading. So stick around, it's going to be rad. Alright, like always, step 1 is to do the setup. So we're going to go ahead and go to setup, make sure we're in turning milling here, and it gives us this. This stock is about 1 inch long, so we're going to have 2 inches sticking out of the chuck. So down here, I'm going to set this to negative 0.98, and eventually that will bring us around to the right sides. This is the front, so the Z needs to be this way. And then we're going to go over to stock, and we are going to change this. The diameter is 2. The length, though, is going to be 3. And we're going to offset from the front 0.02, so we have ability to face. And if we go back to here, you'll see now the chuck is exactly 2 inches away, leaving us a little material on the very front to cut away, and then about an inch into the stock. This will probably cut off the big bar, so with the feeder, we understand the process. So, post-processing, the number is 26041, and this is OP1 for Operation 1 on the Fusion Lathe lessons number 4. And the 2 inches sticking out of the chuck for us is G54, which is the default of 0, so we don't have to do anything there. So we go ahead and click OK. So step 1 is we're going to get the profile cut here set up pretty quick. This is all repetitive, so I'm going to go rather quickly. So first step is facing. This is made out of 12L14, so we're going to go ahead and choose from our demo our general metal turning, steel turning one, and we're going to choose 12L14. And we're going to hit select and click OK, as we're just doing a facing, and we cut the face across the front. Then we're going to do a rough turning using the same tool, and the only thing we're changing here is we want to extend it beyond the back about negative 0.15. That'll give us a clean surface to part off when we do the next operation. So we're going to go ahead and click OK, and that should produce a rough turning. Obviously, we're just marching along. We're going to do a finish turning, and we are going to select the same tool. The only thing I'm going to change here is I actually don't need the inner diameter. We don't need to start at the center. We're going to end up drilling it all the way. So I'm going to change this to the model ID, and then I'm going to push it negative 0.05. And that means it'll start a little bit below the threads, but it won't machine from the center. It just saves us a wee bit of time. And then don't forget over here, we're going to offset off the back, negative 0.05, just to make sure we get a clean cut all the way across this face. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. Hopefully everybody understands those reasons. And it says, hey, we got an error. If we read the error, it's most likely its lead out is been modified due to gouging. So basically it's saying that these yellow lines over here have been modified from the settings to prevent hitting this or the part. So I'm fine with that, so that's not a big deal. So let's move this back over to an orientation we can see. There we go. So we now have the external parts done. Now it's time to work on the internals. So the first step is we have to bore a hole with a drill bit. So we're going to drill, and I have in the tool library a big 1 inch drill bit in there. So if you have an old tool library, you may have to download a new one. This is tool number 10, 1 inch drill bit, and it has 12L14. And we're going to select this. Now the big thing here is we need to bore it deeper than this is so that we can do work with our boring bars. We need to clear some clearance in the back here, and we got to push it all the way through. So first step is we're going to hit tip through, which will get this far, but we need to also go about, we're going to go about 200 thou deeper. Oops, negative. So that's going to leave us a little bit of room. If we were machining a sequence of these, that would just mean that the next one would start with part of the hole already drilled. That's not a big deal. But we need some clearance from here for the boring bar and the internal threading tool. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. And there we go. So we have a hole. Now our next step is we are going to do internal threading. And we are going to do a roughing pass to start with. So we're going to be rough turning the profile, and we are going to select from the tool library a 1/2 inch, well, let me see if I made it. Not the threading tool, we're going to do this that's an OD threading tool I need to fix. We're going to use this 3/4 inch boring bar, tool number 11. So it has 12L14, we hit select. Now here's where it gets a little bit tricky. So we are going to change, we're going to increase the back first, -0.15. That's going to push us beyond the back. And we're going to bring and we're not going to bring the front forward at all, but the big thing we're going to change are these inner and outer limits. So the outer limit is going to be the model ID. And our inner limit is going to also be the model ID minus -0.1. And if you look from this, it means that it's only going to machine in this area. We're going to control it, and this is very important for internal boring because the boring bar will hit the sides. You have to be very careful with limiting where it can go, because if it tries to come out to the clearance height, which we'll show you here in a second, you're going to see we're going to end up with a collision. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. And then we're going to run a little simulation here. And it should give us some errors. So you see here it's going to go there, first bore, second bore. And we can already predict here we're going to have an error because it has this red line. And what it's going to do is it's going to pull it all the way out over here. Like, we can't do that. Like, that's not going to work. We're going to collide with the back side. So we need to go in and fix that. So let's go ahead in here and edit this up. And under clearance, we have to do this model ID, and then we're only going to do like -0.11. Just a little bit. It has to be smaller than the inner one, but not by much. And now if we simulate, and I'm going to hit, notice there is no red line over here now. I'm going to make it go a little bit faster, but that was too fast. Well, let's slow it down. We're going to come over to here and hit play. And here's our final pass. And it's going to go in, but it only comes out just a little bit. So we have clearance. Well, that wasn't the final pass. But the point here we're going to show, let's go do it again. There's clearance now that it only comes out a little bit to clear. So we now have our bore, and it's only rough, so it's not finished diameter, but we are only leaving, I don't remember off the top of my head, I believe we're going to be leaving about 4 thou on it. That's not a lot. So we're going to thread over that 4 thou, because during the threading operation you peel up a little bit of a curve. And then we're going to go back and do a finish pass just to clean it up. So once again, we're getting the same thing. The clearance trim at the clearance radius. So I think we need to increase that clearance just a little bit more. Let's do it to 1.3. And we go ahead and click OK, and now we're not getting an error. And if we simulate it, I don't even need to run it, I just need to see that there's no red line appearing. So we'll do a simulation at the end. So now let's do the threading. So we're going to do threading, turn threading, and we need to select the threading tool, which the boring bar threading tool, which is tool number 12. Once again, 12L14. And then we're going to come here, and we have essentially the same kind of things. We are going to do a backside offset. We have 150 thou right now, so we're going to do it -100 thou. I think it's negative. I'll double check that. I think it actually is positive. Well, really easy thing to fix if it doesn't come out right. Now, on our stock thing, we have to change this here too. It's from clearance to model ID minus 0.12 is what we'll do to make sure we have enough clearance. And then under passes, we have to make sure the pitch is the right pitch. Now this is a, I believe, 1 3/16 20 thread, which means this is 20 threads per inch. So I'm going to go 1 divided by 20. And that would be 0.005. And we should be able to click OK. Oh, I didn't select the geometry. And now if we simulate it, it doesn't develop toolpath. Oh, there we go, it's threading it, and we're looking for red lines. There's one right there, which I don't understand why it's doing that. I think that's just because it's making a full ring at the very bottom because we didn't cut a internal threading gutter. But we can see, I have to speed this up a little bit for the expedition of time, but it's going to do multiple passes to full depth. And then we're going to go ahead and hit, well, there it is. We're going to hit finish. So we now have the internal threading done as well. So we have both external and internal. Now, our last step is we are going to do a parting off on this. So we're going to go ahead and do a part off. And our tool will be tool number 2, the parting tool. And we're going to change it to 12L14. And then we are going to set this, it's going to pick it up on the back side. This is all great. But what we're going to add is we're going to add an edge break. And this is a little bit confusing because in this calculation, I have to add in the width of the cutter. Ours is a 0.125 plus 0.02 will give me a small edge break, basically a chamfer on the back side. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Remember, that angle is not always right, so don't overreact. But if we hit now simulation on just this, you're going to see it's going to, oops, that was too fast. Uh-oh, maybe, oh, notice that it went way too deep. Now in reality, because we've drilled this hole, it will fall off before it'll ever hit there. But we can limit it from going that deep by editing this, going to edit. And our inner diameter here, so our radius inner, we're going to go back to model ID. And then we're going to go in a little bit more than we need to make sure it comes off. So I'm going to do negative 0.05 and click OK. Now when I simulate it, you're going to see that it goes in. There we go. But we put a little chamfer on the back side, and the cutter only went down far enough for this to fall out, saving you a little bit of time. So anyways, that's how we do internal threading and boring using Fusion in CAM. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.